Okay, this is going to be emotional as I expected. I have been wanting to make this video for quite a while now. Quitting anything is emotional, but in this particular case, it is emotional because I put so much effort into getting certified, buying expensive equipment, and attending continuing professional education. Basically, a lot of time and effort have gone into this Pilates journey. And the reason the title of this video is so specific is because I am ready to leave teaching group reformer in a studio or gym behind at this point. However, I still believe in the power of the Pilates method. I think it is a great tool. Not new age, I still enjoy teaching it, and I have tried to make it work. But for the following reasons I'm about to explain in detail, this is where I have come to in my personal journey. I'm not encouraging or discouraging anybody to pursue a career in Pilates teaching. We're all different. All I'm doing in this channel is to practice being authentic. So here we go. The 3 parts of the reasons why I'm quitting teaching group reformer at a studio. Different people are going to have different anxiety levels in different scenarios. Personally, I am a little bit prone to anxiety naturally, and you will not be surprised when I tell you I'm also highly sensitive and sometimes a little bit hypervigilant. It takes a lot of trustworthy experiences for me to feel safe. When I say a lot, I'm not exaggerating this time. It almost feels like I'm on a seesaw. It takes just one negative experience to make me drop to the bottom of the seesaw. But it doesn't just take one good experience to make me feel balanced again. It takes maybe 10 or even 20 good experiences to make me feel just a little safer about the situation. Just a little bit higher back on that seesaw. And that is the problem I have with anxiety around teaching. It takes a few negative client experiences or my personal mini failures when I first started teaching to plant those seeds of anxiety which grows on me every time I'm about to teach a shift. When I teach, I have no anxiety at all in the moment because I'm so focused on what I'm doing. My brain literally does not have the space to worry about anything. But it is the worst in the first 12 to 24 hours before my shift. My mind becomes a dark hole. Yeah. Literally, like I'm paralyzed, procrastinating, mentally foggy because of this cloud of anxiety looming over me. I'm not a weak person, and it takes me a lot of courage to talk about this openly on a public platform like this. I know at this point, my channel is so microscopic that not many people are going to come across this video and listen to what I'm feeling. But I still didn't want to come across as a complainer or as somebody who is not capable of tolerating anxiety at all, because everyone deals with some kind of anxiety when we don't feel safe and secure. But hopefully talking about this is going to help normalize it a bit and help others who are also dealing with similar kind of anxiety not so alienated and alone in how they feel. When I first started my certification, which was over a year and a half ago, I was already feeling some kind of anxiety every time I had to do practice teaching or any practical assessment. The assessments were particularly nerve-wracking. I can still remember how nervous and stressed I was when I was doing my exam. Now, almost 9 months into teaching group reformer classes, I have no problem with teaching itself, and I do not doubt my skill as a Pilates instructor. But the pressure for frequent class planning, or the unknown when I'm testing out a new routine in class, the fear of meeting difficult clients on an unlucky day, and the constant need to perform finally got me. I started searching on Reddit and Quora if anyone else also has the same issue, and it turned out that I'm not the only one.
Yeah!
Some people said they still get stage fright after 9 years of teaching. Someone said it only went away after 10 years of teaching. Lots of people said this will eventually go away with time and experience, but they're still struggling after 2 or 3 years of teaching experience, which is surprisingly long-lasting. I know it is not healthy that my mind is over-catastrophizing the little negative client experiences I had and always thinking what could go wrong in a class, which makes me feel extremely unsafe, although 90% of the time, the classes went fine. I know that I'm still not very experienced compared to people who have been doing this for years and years. And perhaps the stage fright, not really when I'm teaching, but before I go onto the stage, will go away with more time and experience eventually. But honestly, chronic anxiety is not fun. It is affecting my life in a negative way that is not worth the grind anymore, especially for the little money I get from it. I think I can start writing about how much I struggle online and keep complaining about it to my family and friends to cope with how much mental misery the anxiety is giving me on a daily basis, or I can also just be plain honest about it to myself and have a clear and hard look at what are the issues and take a break or change how I work to fit my personality a bit better to reduce the anxiety I'm feeling now. My favorite chapter from James Clear's book, Atomic Habit, is not about habits at all. It is about the concept of not fitting a round peg into a square hole to find the game where the odds are in your favor, creating a niche and design a service that get the most out of your genes, i.e. your character strength and natural talent, as well as the weaknesses you might have that are just so difficult to change or work against. And in my case, that is the moderate to high neuroticism I experience when it comes to going to teach a large group reformer class at a studio that pays me peanuts on a regular basis. For example, if you experience way less anxiety when you're in a one-to-one setting or when you take your time to film videos than teaching a group reformer class where you are responsible for how everybody moves in every minute of the class, something that may work better for your psyche may be to concentrate on getting private clients and offer pre-filmed Pilates workout videos for your clients on a platform. I'm not saying that's what I'm gonna do, but sometimes I do wonder if it is Pilates on a whole, or is it just the situation I'm in with Pilates? Would I feel differently if I was paid the same as if I am performing a gig on a stage, which I'm guessing it is more well paid? Would I feel differently if I have more control in my own schedule and timing of teaching? Well, this leads to part 2 of the reasons why I'm stopping teaching group reformer Pilates in a studio. One of the reasons that contributes to the anxiety around teaching at a studio is the unstable timing and schedule of working hours. Even though I pick my own shift for covers, which already gave me a lot of flexibility in which hours I agreed to work, somehow I had a tendency to picking a lot of shifts in advance for the next month and then ended up regretting it right before I went for the shift. To be completely honest with you, I picked up as many shifts as I think I can handle the past few months because I so desperately want to make back all the money I invested into my Pilates journey before I allow myself to leave this for good if I feel like this is really not working for me, which is a sunk cost, or they call it the sunken ship fallacy. But more importantly, at least I gave it a good try before making any major decisions about it. As I have mentioned in my previous video on this topic, I found the reality of working late and very early hours hard on my body. And every time I have to get up at 5 a.m. to go to my shift, I'm just like, why? Why did you do this to yourself? And usually I can't sleep the night before a shift like this because of the anxiety getting higher and higher when it is closer to the time of my shift. Even my only permanent shifts make me feel trapped because sometimes you just don't want to teach, especially when I'm at that time of the month. I'm physically in pain and just don't feel like doing any physical labor. But at the same time, I feel so guilty of asking for covers because it is so last minute. Yeah, the guilt of asking for cover is there, but also because you're missing out the pay. Even though logically everybody asks for covers and nothing wrong with it, somehow in this industry you will feel like you are asking for a big favor from others when you are asking for covers, which I do not like at all. The unpredictability of how many hours of pay you will get every month and the guilt of taking time off made me realize relying your sole source of income on teaching full-time or even part-time in other people's studio just does not serve me in a sustainable way. Unless I own my own studio that gives me consistent income, or I have a rich husband supporting me and I practically don't even need to work, and this is literally just some pocket money I'm getting for fun, which you will see a lot of those in the Pilates industry. No hate at all, just not my situation right now. And to be very honest with you, I simply wouldn't be doing it on a regular basis, waking up at 5 a.m. or coming home at 8 to 9 p.m. if I'm not paid for it. Disclaimer, I'm just showing you my own psyche, which is a very specific personality type with limited experience. I know people who have been doing this for 10 or 20 years. They just don't care that much about class planning anymore. Apparently, they don't even plan class or bother to demonstrate in class when they teach. They don't feel guilty when they ask for covers, and it has just become a second nature to them that they have no anxiety at all when it comes to teaching. I know that is possible even with my psyche, but do I really want to soak myself in this kind of anxiety for another 5 to 6 years to get to that point? No. No. This reason is the most important reason, the breaking point for me to make the decision to stop. I never really questioned the safety aspect of the group reformer classes until I started getting knee pain myself 5 months into attending intensive reformer group classes consistently. Personally, I never understand how people can attend these classes more than twice a week, because these contemporary reformer classes have become so intensive and they put so much load on stabilizing muscles and joints that made my body feel so inflamed after every class I attend. So initially, when I was learning, I was attending 3 to 4 times a week for about 2 weeks. Then I realized that is too much for my body, so I have only been going to classes once or maximum twice a week for the past 6 months. And recently, I had knee pains that I never had before. Disclaimer again, this is just my own speculation. I myself am not very sure if this is caused by those intensive reformer classes or if it is because of my other unhealthy habits. So do take what I say with a grain of salt, because I'm not sure myself. All I know is every time, even if I pick the easiest option in class, most of these classes challenge those stabilizing muscles in a very intensive way that is way too hard on my body. I myself find my own class challenging because I also feel the pressure to make the classes as challenging as possible for the clients. It seems that a lot of clients that go to the studio I work at love hardcore intensive classes. They often think the harder the better. Some people, I see them struggling with the movement in class, and then at the end of the class they are telling me they need harder classes, and I'm like, really? You know, if you just do the movement in the correct form, you would have made class so much harder for yourself. And you might ask me, why are you not correcting people so that they're doing this properly? Well, I do correct, but in a group class of 12, I cannot give my attention to just correcting one person. I struggle to correct everybody, even if there are only 6 or 8 people in class, because some clients are just not getting it, even after I correct them 3 to 4 times. Just do it slower. Just do it as slow as you can. Slower? Okay. We're almost there. Just hanging there. God, please don't let this person get injured. And because it is not a personalized class, everybody in all levels are coming to the same class, I have to move on. I have to attend to everyone's ability, which sometimes is literally impossible. That makes me question the safety aspect of these commercialized big group reformer classes. Some people are just not suited for some of the exercise in my class plan, but unless they come to my class consistently, I don't know them, their health, their ability, what they're capable of. Many of them want to pick the hardest option, and then they're wondering why their back and knee hurts from the class they took the other day. That made me question whether Pilates is meant for high intensity or big group. And should beginners take a few private sessions before they're allowed to join big group classes? In my opinion, because we're working with a lot of stabilizing muscles around joints, the movements need to be quite precise to hit and work those muscles properly and safely. I know everybody's trying to make Pilates a cool trend to replace more traditional ways of exercising like weightlifting or HIIT cardio, but personally, I'm not convinced that Pilates is a replacement for other modality of exercising, and it is certainly not the best method for weight loss. In fact, doing hardcore Pilates consistently had made my body more bulky and bloated because of all the stress I'm putting my body under, which also made me hungry. It is probably very weird to hear this from a Pilates instructor herself, but by all means, I'm not against Pilates. I think it is an excellent method to maintain your body's mobility, flexibility, and posture as you age, and to prevent the risk of injury if you do it in a safe and controlled way. In fact, I'm so glad that I know the ins and out of this method because it is one of the keys to longevity and sustained health. It is like nutrition to your skeleton. Personally, gentle Pilates suited to my level is like oiling my joints, and it does so much more than hardcore tearing and stretching those small stabilizing muscles. I'm also fond of mat Pilates, and I think mat Pilates is perfectly safe for group class if you keep it to the beginner and intermediate level only. But some of the mat intermediate exercises are harder than intermediate reformer exercises, and I probably would not put that into an all-level group mat class. So, what's next? I'm so grateful for the experiences I got from working at a studio, and I'm very lucky to have a very kind studio owner who I enjoyed working for. This experience had taught me so much, both in teaching skills and dealing with all kinds of people. I may still do covers when I feel like teaching groups, which may or may not happen, and I will be shifting towards more tailored private or semi-private classes. I'm also a certified coach who works with clients on a one-to-one basis on other areas such as burnout, confidence, and nutrition, which I'm naturally quite good at. So working with my strength and gravitating towards more of a private tailored service with Pilates is something that I'm really keen to step into. I guess the overarching reason behind this decision is that I don't want to be caged by this Pilates career. I want to have more control over how I want to teach those classes and align the classes with my personal beliefs a little bit more, which is a slower, gentler progression, but also fun approach to Pilates. Peace out.